morning. It's Ginny, Eli, Tim from DS Tech in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And I love fishing. Living in the UP.
Too.
Yeah. Living in the UP, I mean, you gotta love hunting, fishing, something like that, right?
Yeah. You're gonna be cooped up inside a lot if not.
Right? Make sure you drop your comments and your questions as we go through these different fishing techniques.
Yep.
Ways to catch fish. I don't know.
Yeah. I call it the different fishing species or whatever methods of fishing.
But there's a lot of ways to catch a fish.
Yeah, there are. And the hackers do the same thing when they're fishing you. So we're going to go through the various methods that the hackers utilize and how to be aware and help avoid them.
Awesome. So what do you got for us?
So the first one is the most common that most everyone has heard of and is being training for is just the email phishing. So they're going to send you an email that appears to come from a reputable source. They try to trick you into providing sensitive information or downloading an attachment that could be bad, or you click here to log in to view your attachment and then you're giving your credentials away, things like that, or just kind of the traditional email phishing that we've all seen and have been talking about consistently.
I actually had one the other day that it was legit.
Yeah.
Really? No, it was legit.
Oh, okay.
But after I responded, I thought I should have.
That was too quick.
I should have checked the email to make sure because it was Eric asking me for a password.
Oh yeah.
And I just gave it. I just automatically, because he's the boss. I just automatically, and it was like, wait a minute.
We'll talk about some other ones
right?
later. That's what they're trying
to
do.
Episode on social engineering,
but they try to convince a help desk or someone to give away something without, verifying. Chances are, if it's coming directly from Eric, it's probably fine.
Yeah, and it did.
Well, you probably saw it.
Well, in our email points out too when it comes from
outside the
organization. Oh gosh, the big red bar at the top.
Yeah. So
even if you're expecting it sometimes.
So even subconsciously, I knew. I was like, I knew that was Eric, but
right.
Afterthought, I was thinking, I probably shouldn't just respond. I should have, checked.
A lot of businesses with help desks now, when you're giving out information like that, they're actually creating like an internal 2FA where if someone requests a password, not only via text, you have to call them, verify via voice. Are you actually asking this? Okay, great. And then they'll go ahead and give it up just to make sure that the person is who they're talking to. Because, let's say Eric's account's going to get compromised, but it could. Well, and then you never know when you're, things like that. So, but that's a little bit more advanced, but it's good on you to, have that
password keeper, for sharing passwords. Right?
Yeah. If you never share your password, never just send the password in the email, because the email can be scraped and they can find that. You always want to use a temporary little thing to kind of store the password in that they can retrieve it like 1 or 2 views and then it disappears, and it's kind of a secure way of sending it. So.
Okay, so impersonating, right? That email phishing.
And that's where we go into next one, spear phishing, right?
Oh,
this is where it's more of a targeted form of phishing where attackers customize their messages and to a specific individual or organization, often using personal information that appears legitimate. So you're specifically going after one company. You're not just sending tons of emails out to all these companies hoping someone's going to maliciously click it or accidentally click it. It's more of trying to specifically go after a specific company. And so you see a lot of that in businesses where maybe you do security or different things like that. They're trying to go after those businesses because it's like a treasure trove down the tree. You have whaling. So that's a type of spear phishing for high profile individuals. So you're thinking celebrities, executives with the goal of stealing sensitive information and financial assets. So a lot of times that stuff, they're just going after a really, Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook or some crazy CEO with billions of dollars. And those people are constantly being hammered and attacked and phished and having targeted
campaigns. If it's not millions or billions, they don't want it, right?
Yeah, exactly. The top, that's what they call it, whale. They're going for the big whale, trying to get someone.
Would you count that as when
it's like a spear phishing for a large creature? So it's kind of it's like a targeted spear
instead
phishing.
of trying to get the president of like a SMB or something.
Yeah,
going after
going after top.
Like when Elon's Twitter account got hacked.
Yeah, things like that. And even that, it's like they're just going after Twitter, not. But yes, so similar to that.
Okay.
A common one that's becoming more prevalent that you see typically around the holidays when you have lots of tracking for packages is the smishing. So it's basically the SMS or text messages phishing. So you're getting the email, the text on your phone, and it has like click this link to follow your package, and it's some like weird garbled message. You don't ever click that link because just like in your email, maybe it is a legitimate tracking reminder you signed yourself up for. But if ever I want to do that, I'll log into the website directly, check the tracking on the website. So if I'm not going to click on check your Amazon package with this link, I just go to Amazon.com, log in, and then I'll check.
So
no
easy
reason
to tap that link. It's so easy.
It is so convenient.
It is.
But that's so the SMS, phishing.
Without
don't push a button. Don't click.
I had a dream last night that I did click something and I called you because I was like, I clicked it. Oh no, what am I gonna do? And my phone started going crazy.
Right.
That just flashing. That just goes to show that cybersecurity never sleeps. Thinking of it 24/7.
We even dream about it.
Yeah.
The Freddy Krueger of security after you. So that's a common one, this phishing, texting, all that kind of stuff. There's another variable of that. This is still low on in terms of how frequently it's happening, but it's becoming more and more frequent because the technology that allows people to do this is becoming easier to become accessible to, is the phishing, the voice phishing. So that's where attackers will use phone calls to trick individuals to divulging personal or financial information. It often involves spoofing legitimate phone numbers. So someone will call and leave a voicemail using an AI program that sounds like your president asking you for a password, and the next thing you know, you text them the password, for example.
And then there's spoofing
that's tricky.
number that looks legitimate.
Yeah, and sometimes they're trying to use the actual number to look legitimate as well. It's typically for large organizations where they have help desks and things, or like if I'm going after, for example, say Elon Musk, and I knew who Elon Musk's cell phone provider was, you call them 100 times trying to get one employee that'll transfer their phone number to your new phone that you just bought.
Right.
And if you get the one person who doesn't follow the protocol, now you've just transferred your number.
Or you name drop the last person you talked to.
Maybe. But anyway, that's typically what people will do. They'll kind of call in, try to get things going, but then the voice phishing. We've even seen it. There was like a Chinese hack or whatever it was, where there was it in China or was it Singapore? I forget what, but some guy had like $50 million just gone from the company because it was such a targeted, phish campaign using some of these other techniques where they had a Teams message meeting that was pre-recorded. And then they re-recorded it with audio dubs into it, convincing someone who was in accounting in a different branch somewhere to actually transfer like $25 or $50 million or something like that.
Yes.
And so they lost all the money because it was a completely fake, spoofed video and everything, where they had like the CEO and all this other stuff in there. So it was very,
and it was from
crazy.
like a public release thing that they did or something that was on the internet, right?
They probably just took a video and then they took that video and then used AI to doctor it up to make it like a custom message, because AI is not good enough to just generate an entire video from scratch. Typically you're taking an existing known video and then layering, like editing on it to kind of change the voice and the faces just a little bit to then create your own custom message or whatever.
Would that be considered?
Oh yeah. Too much time on their hands.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, can you imagine if you applied that level of effort to, like, I don't know, a legal industry, but no, would you
applied it to something good?
Well, right. Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
Would you consider that to be like a deep fake, or is that just much
kind
more
of? I mean, deep fake is
that?
just a general term that people are using. Just to use it. It's an AI that's edited video. That's like, to me, it's just it's like the term Photoshop, right? Yeah. Like if you photoshopped an image, your term Photoshop became synonymous with editing a photo, and that's where deep fake is now. Is basically in my brain, deep fake is just you're using AI to edit a video. It's not like anything malicious necessarily. It just means that people are using AI to do it, and so it typically comes with a negative connotation because most of these videos are due to do malicious or whatever. Some of them are for fun, but I'd say 90% of them are to be malicious.
You see people
certain things like little meme videos online and silly things like that. But
I know a marketer too that he takes old videos of himself.
Yep.
And then dubs in, the words.
Different words or whatever.
So he doesn't create the videos anymore. It's interesting.
I mean,
it looks real.
There's something to be said for that.
It looks real.
Yeah.
And
It'd be like us taking this little podcast, the 10-minute session or whatever it is, and just using it over and over again and just changing the words and verbiage a little bit and some of the mannerisms.
Man.
Then we wouldn't have to take time to record it, but of course we'd have to take time to edit it. But
yeah.
Well,
anyway.
right. It's like, well, what do you want to spend more time on?
Anyway. Okay.
So that's the voice phishing. They're just using, AI to leave spoof voice messages to people to try to get them to do things. It's usually paired with an email where someone will send like a targeted phishing message to someone and then also then leave a spoof voicemail message to that person to almost solidify that the email they sent earlier was legitimate. So they usually can use multiple of these at the same time. It's a criminal
2FA.
Yeah, pretty much. So now there's clone phishing. This is just a similar where attackers create a near identical replica of a legitimate email previously sent by a trusted source, replacing legitimate links to attaching with malicious ones. So that's usually where someone will create like exact email, almost like one that you've been doing, and then try to just kind of get it like while you're in the middle of a email chain, even then slipping in the fake
Indiana
one.
Jones
And then,
swap.
exactly. You swap out the real one for the fake one halfway through, and then now you're sending information to the bad
You're
one.
in the string, in the conversation already.
And they'll kind of slip one in that's
all
of a sudden you won't even notice.
It's like shoehorned in.
You wouldn't even notice.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
We had one like that.
Yep.
Because Steve showed me the string.
Yep.
And he was like, look at where this, like right here.
Random email all of a sudden came out of nowhere.
It just started
it's got
to
an
change
extra S on it,
a little bit. Yeah.
Something, yep.
That's crazy.
So common other one is what that you'll hear a lot of times is business email compromise. So that's where attackers will impersonate a company's executive or business partner to trick employees into transferring money or divulging sensitive information. Again, sometimes that goes with like spoof domains where someone will, you're a legitimate business and someone bought your website with an S at the end of it. And now they're actually going to go through all of your clients and try to message all of them, trying to get them to think that they're you. And so that's where that can happen with that as well. So typically, sometimes your email might already be compromised. Like if you do work with an actual vendor, it's not out of the question where maybe they're actually compromised legitimately. And now the attacker somehow got into their system because their systems didn't have 2FA on all the security that your business does. And now they're starting to send messages to you from a legitimate email that you normally do business with as well. So you got to keep that in mind too, that if the messages seem weird or like this person doesn't respond like this, it could be even a legitimate compromise they're messaging you. So always just that's where I'll pick up the phone and call the user. Hey, did you send me that email? And verify over the phone.
Wanted to be sure.
Yeah,
right?
and we've seen that could be common as well. So.
Or I'll just walk up to your office, then I can see your face.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, did you send me that earlier? Oh yeah, you did. Okay, cool. That's right.
No, I
This is more for companies where you have like a contract.
Yeah, I
which
know.
may have tons of subcontractors, or you're working with tons of different vendors and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
I can see that happening.
I was at a conference last fall, and there's someone from the FBI cyber division, and he was saying how after an incident, if he reaches out, a lot of the times people will do that, and they'll go, well, this seems like a scam, hang up on them, and then they'll look him up and call him back and verify. And he's like, it takes longer, but I like that people do that.
Err on the side of caution.
It's like if more people did that in the first place, I wouldn't. I may be out of a job,
right?
But
more vacation time at least.
Yeah. So, but no, it's just it might take longer, but. Most cases that saving you that stress, time, and money is.
What did your grandma always say? Better be safe than sorry.
Yeah. Yep.
So we have farming, it's called, with PH. So this is more just like on the internet. It says instead of relying on email, attackers will redirect users from legitimate websites to fraudulent ones to try to capture their login credentials and other personal information.
Oh, I've seen those.
This can also be targeted. I've seen it too, where someone actually creates a spoof website of a company specifically, and then what happens is they actually will have like a live operator in the background. So it's like you'll get an email that says, download your OneDrive file. I'm sharing this Excel spreadsheet with you or whatever, and you click on it, and it looks like you're logging directly into Microsoft land. It's got the Microsoft, everything look like that. So you put your Microsoft email and password in, and normally you get your 2FA immediately. And you're like, that's weird. The 2FA didn't come. And then like maybe 35, 40 seconds later, your 2FA finally pops up. You're like, oh, there it is. And then you'll hit it. You're done at that point, because what happens is they had someone on the other side of that, when you typed your email and password and you just essentially gave that to them in a message. And what they're doing is they're taking that, and in real time now they're logging to Microsoft, which then will prompt your 2FA, and you not thinking anything of it. You're like, well, that was delayed, but it's nothing weird. And you now just let them in, and then they start going wild. So that's a very common one too, where they'll have a spoofed thing. And even if you have multi-factor, you're still not 100% protected, because you still will approve it when someone's trying to sign in if it's within that window. So
there was incidences of that
That's
last
crazy.
year in
Mhm.
Michigan, weren't there? I mean, I think I heard.
Yeah, it happens all the
something like
time.
that.
It's very common for like hospitals and banking where there's a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of like information to be stolen. That's
Mhm.
typically a common one where you'll see that. This one then they call is angler phishing. Phishing attacks conducted through social media platforms. Attackers create fake accounts or use compromised legitimate accounts to lure victims. So that's typically you see social media, you get private messages and all this other weird
Oh my
stuff popping up
gosh.
all the time. That's just what this is. It's a lot of that's just bots and they're just, spraying and praying, 10,000 people
Yep.
hoping someone will click a malicious link or file. So just be aware when you're using social media, if you're getting messages randomly in your private messages and don't normally interact with those people, just ignore them all
Or
is my
you're
advice.
Getting
Duplicate.
friend requests.
Oh, yeah,
from
friend
people
requests
you're
from
already
people
friends
that you're
with.
already
I had
friends
that
with,
last
yep.
week. There was
Yep.
someone that I was in like band with in school. I hadn't talked to them in a while, but I was certainly friends with them on Facebook. And I saw, or maybe it was Instagram, but that's not the point.
Mhm.
Got a
Pops up again.
request, another friend request,
Right.
but with like a different, instead of like 1,
'Cause
2,
people
3,
will take
4
full accounts
in their
now with
name,
bots and
it
they'll
was like,
scrape it. Yeah.
yeah, it was like 1, 3, 2, 4
Yep.
or something.
It
So
looks
I
exactly the same. They use the same.
reported and blocked
Yeah.
and then
There's
sent
so
them a
many
message
accounts
and
being created on
let the
all the social
original
medias.
person know, and
Yep.
it's just terrible now. But
AI will do that. They can
yeah.
scrape and it'll create, 100 profiles out of 100 existing profiles, and then it'll just change like the picture, change a number a little bit, and they're creating these fake bot accounts for various
Then
purposes.
they go after your friends.
Oh yeah,
Exactly. And
They
it
do
just spreads.
all sorts of.
So that's the angler fishing. That's more just for the social media side of things. And then last but not least, it's called malvertising.
Oh.
So attackers will use online advertisements to distribute malware. Clicking on an infected ad can actually lead to phishing websites or automatic malware downloads. So even the little inline ads in Facebook, and a lot of times, yeah, they do a good job of like trying to clean up the bad ads. But if the first few that don't get reported, people are clicking them. People will submit ads that are legitimate, but then the ad just goes to a
Right.
website that is now a phishing website, so it's not actually for the real product. And so there's tons of that stuff
All
going on
sorts
as
of
well.
just-
I saw one for Duluth Trading. It looked so legit, but the pricing was outrageous.
Right,
It's like
it was like 10% of the normal price or whatever.
Like
Too good to be
like
true.
50%. Like
Okay.
you know, like
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
I don't know,
geez.
like the $100 pants were like $50 or $40, and it's like
yeah, it's like
that's crazy. So
they're probably not doing that.
because I was arguing with the person, and he was like insisting it was legit. I said, well, let's call the actual Duluth Trading number, that I have right here from my, because I'm signed up on their stuff. So I
Right.
called them, and they said, oh yeah, that's somebody's using
us
a
as
similar website. Our website is this. It's
Yep.
not that.
Yep.
And it was so close. I'm like,
Man,
And that's what they try to do. They're
it's
like,
like Duluth Trading Co. instead of company or something.
it was something very close.
Oh,
Yeah.
So,
that's not right.
so yeah,
It's
just because
tricky.
it's an ad doesn't mean it's legitimate. So keep that
So,
in mind. That
I wonder if somebody did go to that website, are they buying anything, or are they just
no, they're
collecting?
just collecting all the
They're
data. So you're probably
probably-
working with some agent who's
Yeah.
often some call center somewhere, some scam call center who's getting you to go in. He's texting, so you brought it up. But even if you didn't, you go to that website. You're like, oh great, I want these pants. Go to your cart checkout, and then once you put your cart checkout, it might even be smart enough to it'll give you like a tracking number, all this stuff. It's all fake, and now
It's
they just
never
collected your
coming.
information. And you're never going to get your
Yeah.
object.
Maybe they got like $30 out of you too, which may show that you're
Because
gullible.
Depends on
some
the-
of them might even try to like charge your card if you put a card in there and collect
Yeah.
money from you, and then you're just not going to get your product.
Do like $1.99 a month.
You know.
I know you don't understand.
So yeah, so just keep that in mind all over the. And
Foot in the
usually
door.
when you search Google, they have a huge problem too, where the top results on Google or search engines are usually like advertised,
Yeah.
and those get hijacked all the time too. So just keep in mind when you're
Oh,
searching for
yeah.
things. Whenever it says sponsored link or any of that, just skip
Yes.
all of those. It's not worth it because sometimes, again, it's rare. They do a good job of trying to remove them as quick as they can, but it's a constant game of whack-a-mole with
Anything's
trying to
possible.
trick
Yeah.
people. So yeah, so it's a lot of different phishing techniques, I guess, or species of phishing or whatever you want to call it. But it's still the number one vector that people are going to get in is because it's got the human element. So there's human error. Someone clicks things. But my advice is usually your gut instinct is right? If it's too good to be true, if it seems weird, you got kind of a hunch, it just doesn't look right, err on the side of caution. Usually your gut's pretty good. So
And if you
And
need
don't
better
just
gut
react.
instincts, contact us for training.
yes, if you want to enhance your security, obviously, yes.
That's good. We do.
But
have
you're
this-
right. I mean,
Yeah, the phishing training is good.
Let it really
I've been through it, and I've fallen for a lot of them, and had to watch the videos over and over again.
Oh yeah.
So it's really good. It's really good.
And companies that take the time to do fish training, it drops like 50% in the first 3 months in terms of the click rate of your staff, from clicking everything to learning, oh wait, I better second guess every email just to be on the side of caution. So taking that extra second to think before clicking.
Absolutely.
And that's hard to do. To pause.
Oh yeah, your hands work faster than
you're so busy. You're multitasking. Sometimes. You're going from this to that to this. And it's very easy. But yeah, fish training, and then we have email security we can put in that will eliminate most spoof messages just using AI and things like that. It can eliminate 90% of the crud that comes through your system. So usually only a few will still get in, but at that point that's where your fish training takes over. And then from there, if for some reason someone clicks it, that's where you have your endpoint security and then all the other layers of security that we have. It's not just one solution. They call it the onion of security.
Layers.
So, So. All right. Well, trust no one.
Except for us. Unless
don't click the link.
It's a video.
Take your time. Go to our website and sign up for your free security scan, and drop your questions. So, and your comments. I'd like to hear any stories you have. So, make it a great day. We'll see you next time.